All right, let's dive into something you've probably used 1,000 times without even thinking about it, the drinking straw. But what if I told you this simple little object is anything but simple? Today, we're going to look at it through a whole different lens, not just as a piece of plastic, but as a huge deal for businesses. So ask yourself this: is it just a straw? For you and me, maybe. But if you're in the food or hotel business, the answer gets way more complicated. It's become both a massive threat and, believe it or not, an even bigger opportunity. And the whole story really kicks off with one single number. And here it is. This number tells you pretty much everything you need to know. The global market for compostable straws, it's on track to blow past $3.8 billion by 2035. That's not some tiny niche trend. That is a massive financial wave that's building. And for businesses, the choice is simple: learn to write it or get pulled on. To really get why this is happening, we've got to rewind a bit and see how this one little item turned into such a powerful symbol for change. It's an incredible story of how a tiny piece of plastic started a gigantic ripple effect across the entire globe. This right here, this was the moment everything changed. You've probably seen it, that single gut-wrenching video of a sea turtle with a straw stuck in its nose. It went viral, and it created this immediate emotional global reaction. Almost overnight, the plastic straw went from being a normal convenience to a symbol of our impact on the planet, putting businesses everywhere right in the hot seat. So that public outrage didn't just stay on social media. No way. It spilled over into the real world fast. All of a sudden, companies were dealing with a three-headed monster: their own customers demanding change, new laws and regulations banning single-use plastics, and this growing expectation that companies have to be responsible citizens. The game had completely changed. All that pressure created this huge scramble for alternatives. But to really understand the solutions, we have to get our terms straight first. So, when we say compostable, what are we actually talking about? Okay, this is so important. Biodegradable and compostable are not the same thing, not even close. Biodegradable just means something will break down, eventually. But that could take hundreds of years and leave tiny harmful microplastics behind. Compostable, on the other hand, is a much higher standard. It means the item is specifically designed to break down completely into healthy organic material in a set amount of time. And that is the whole point of a compostable straw. It's an engineered product, typically made from plants, that's designed to go full circle and return to nature. No nasty residues, just good stuff like water, CO2, and biomass. This whole idea is the key to what people call a circular economy, where you design waste out of the system from the very beginning. So who's really pushing this change forward? Well, take a look. It's the food service industry, big time. By 2025, restaurants, cafes, and hotels are set to make up more than half of the entire market. They are on the front lines dealing with both the customer demands and the new rules, which makes them the absolute epicenter of this shift. Okay, so now we get the what and the why. So let's talk about the exciting part, the strategic advantage. This is about so much more than just dodging bad press. It's about actually getting ahead of the competition. And the smartest businesses are already making the switch. When you break it down, the strategic advantage really comes from three key areas. First, it makes your brand look great, especially to younger customers who really care about this stuff. Second, it keeps you on the right side of the law, avoiding fines and headaches down the road. And third, you actually get to make a real, measurable difference for the environment. It's that perfect sweet spot where doing the right thing is also the profitable thing. But switching isn't as simple as just picking a new straw. Not all of these alternatives are created equal. You've got your traditional plastic. It's cheap and it works, but it's an environmental nightmare. Then there's paper. We've all had those get soggy in our drink, right? PLA straws made from corn feel a lot like plastic, but they usually need a special industrial facility to compost. And then you have these newer materials like sugarcane and PHA, which are getting much closer to the goal of high durability and true compostability. It's a real balancing act for businesses between cost, how well it works, and its actual impact. And this is where innovation really starts to solve those problems. Materials like PHA are a total game changer. I mean, they're engineered to give you that plastic-like durability that people want. But here's the magic. They're certified to biodegrade almost anywhere. In an industrial composter, in your backyard compost bin, in the soil, and even, this is the big one, in the ocean. This is the kind of technology that makes a massive worldwide switch actually seem possible. Of course, whenever a green trend gets this big, it's smart to be a little skeptical. So for this last part, we need to cut through the hype and talk about how businesses can make sure the actions they're taking are actually meaningful. Which leads us right to the elephant in the room. Is this all just greenwashing? You know, companies just trying to look good without actually doing good? It's a totally fair question. And telling the difference between real change and clever marketing is absolutely critical. And you know what? That concern is often valid. Remember those PLA straws we talked about? They're only really compostable if they end up in the right kind of industrial facility. If a customer just throws it in a regular trash can, it can end up in a landfill and stick around for centuries, basically acting just like plastic. It proves that the material is only half the story. The disposal system is the other critical half. So what's the fix? How does a business avoid falling into that greenwashing trap? It really comes down to 3 simple, powerful steps. First, you have to verify. Look for legitimate third-party certifications like BPI or TÜV. They've done the science. Second, pick suppliers who are totally transparent about what's in their products and how to get rid of them. And third, do your part to make sure there's a proper way to dispose of them and that your customers know how to do it. And all of this brings us to one final big idea. A straw, at the end of the day, is a tiny thing, but the journey to reinvent it, balancing science, business needs, and our environment, is like a perfect little model for solving much bigger problems. Just think, if we can successfully re-engineer an object this common, this simple, what does that say about our ability to tackle even bigger, more tangled challenges? Maybe it shows us that when we really focus with real innovation and commitment, no problem is too big to solve. A real solution is always, always within our reach.